Good evening, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. Nobody's watching yet. I do hope we are live. There's some milk in there and there's a cup of something. Yep. Yeah, if you want.
What's up, Paul?
Hey, how you doing? How are you doing?
Oh, good. I was just watching a video on YouTube. Somebody posted and it said surviving in an RV during Hurricane Helena.
Oh,
I was
wow.
like, God, fuck, dude. Anybody will do anything for views these days. Like that. I'm sorry, but that's
Yeah.
just stupidity at its finest. Like you're in a fucking RV and you're gonna purposely stay in the path of a hurricane. Idiots. It's not like I understand, somebody gets caught in a tornado or something. You don't, but when you got days, weeks, a week to prepare, and you're purposely staying in the path of a tornado, and then you're going to post a video, yeah, that's, to me, you're just doing that, trying to get views. Stupid. What's up, Brenda?
Hey, Brenda, how's it going?
You can't tell me you can't go anywhere when you're in $100,000 RV. You got the ability to get up and move. Give me that crap like you got stuck there and you can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Anything going on in your area today?
Well, I just got back from doing two ships this afternoon. I just finally got the last ship posted to YouTube.
Yeah, I saw the notifications a little while ago. Well, for one of them, I did. Yeah, so it looks like that one hurricane out in the Atlantic, that one's heading right towards England.
It's headed for where?
England, but it's
Oh,
probably not going to be a hurricane when it reaches them though.
but it'd probably be
You
a
know, here,
be a good sized storm when it gets there, right?
yeah, it'll be like a tropical storm type. But yeah, it's going to be a four there, and then it's going to curve going right up towards them. But yeah, it won't be a hurricane by the time it hits them. Most likely, it's just going to be a tropical storm.
Yeah, because
A
it's
little bit
right
of
now it's headed over cooler waters, right?
yeah, you got that one, and then this one back behind it. But it's supposed to get up to a four, and then as it curves up, it will weaken. So Paul Murray saw you got the Maria G. Look forward to the video. I need to proofread. Those bridges annoy me that they're not the same. Oh,
What,
so
my
much.
bridges?
Yes,
Well, that's because this one is a newer bridge.
yeah, I
That one
know.
is the original bridge built back in the 1930s.
It's annoying that they didn't like go with the same look.
Yeah, we said the same thing when they designed it. We said they should be identical. No, no. We want to make them a little bit different, unique. You know,
Well,
they
you
use
think
it.
if one was built in the 30s, they'd go ahead and rip that one down and rebuild it
They
too.
they 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 use that word unique.
Well, because most bridges have what, like 100-year lifespan is about the average span, I think, of a bridge. So that one should be getting close to 100 years right now. Another 5 years. That one should be, they should just tear that one down and rebuild an identical one next to it, like the new one. Well, because most bridges have what, like 100-year lifespan.
Yeah, more than that.
So that one should be getting close to 100 years right now. You got the, There you
I'm
go.
getting echo. Is that from Mark?
he
It
muted
was.
it.
Okay.
He had to mute his TV.
Uh-huh. Now, bridges have much more lifespan than that.
Well, it depends on how well built they were, though, too.
Tower
And how
Bridge,
well,
Tower Bridge was built over 200 years ago.
Yeah, you
well, it
guys,
depends
you
on,
guys got some old bridges.
London Bridge, even though they tore it down and took it across to America, that was actually originally built like 300 or 400 years ago.
They took
well,
that
it all,
down brick by brick and sent it to the US, right?
yeah. If you go to the London Bridge in Havasu Havasu in Arizona,
Yeah,
each
that's the
brick
one.
actually is marked with a
Yeah.
number. And they took it down brick by brick and then put it exactly the way it was when they took it down.
That's
Every
it.
Wow.
brick
Yeah.
went back and right into the same spot. Now I'm sure there was probably some bricks that may have gotten damaged, but for the most
Possibly.
part, all the bricks are original and they're in the exact spot that they were when they ripped it down.
Yep.
But there's a lot of factors that go into bridge. What kind of material, what kind of environment is it in? How well is it maintained, you know?
Yeah.
Metal bridges can tend to, I don't think would outlast a bridge made out of
Stone
like
one.
rock or stone. Yeah,
No, they wouldn't. But
especially if
then
they're in,
again, we do have some extremely old cast iron bridges.
well, it depends too. Is it fresh water or salt water? Salt water will eat the shit out of metal.
Well, I would imagine that if they rebuilt that in Arizona, that bridge is going to last a lot longer than it would if you rebuilt it in an area where the weather changes on and off. And
Oh yeah, it's
Oh
dry
yeah.
out there too, and not a lot of
I mean, the
inclement weather.
Forth Rail Bridge up in Scotland is over the River
Right.
Forth. That's
Hello.
that's mostly fresh water, but it is a tidal river. The bridge on the Menai Straits at Bristol goes from the mainland to an island over seawater.
Now, from what I heard with the San Francisco Bay Bridge, I don't know if it's true, but I've always heard that they have a full-time painting crew that just goes from one end to the
Oh,
other,
yeah.
and by the time they get to one end, they start back at the other end, and they go because it just the
Yeah,
paint
they do
deteriorates.
exactly the same thing with the Forth Rail Bridge. Once they start at one end, and by the time they reach the other end, they go back and start again.
So, Mark,
Hi, Rod.
you want a good mystery? An
Go on.
electrical one at that. So I got my new ESC yesterday to fix the one, to replace the one that had the blown ESC that wouldn't run the one motor.
Yeah.
Get it all together. Start.
What's up, Joel?
Actually, I checked just the ESC and the motors attached because I temporarily soldered them. All the motors fired up. Hey, ESC's working, right? Considering what I just had happen.
Uh-huh.
Start putting the drone, start putting everything, connecting everything back on. Still kind of working. Put my LEDs on. Smoke stopper throws in air. It fires up, but it doesn't act like a short. It just cuts out. Scratch my head, scratch my head, scratch my head. Mucked around with things last night.
Your
It never
LED
did quite figure it out.
your LEDs have taken enough current away from the ESC to stop it from working properly by the sounds of it.
Kinda.
Because it's added resistance.
So this morning, I start mucking around with it. And I did the LEDs. Okay, it worked. Then I undid the O3 and plugged the LEDs back in. And it worked. I'm like, wait a second. So if I unplug something, then the stupid smoke stopper doesn't trip anymore. At first, I thought it was a ground problem, like I didn't get the XT60 soldered right, blah, blah, blah. It had nothing to do with it. So want to take a second guess?
You're just taking too many volts away from the what's it by having too much stuff on it.
Too much.
Going over voltage.
No, remember, it's got a smoke stopper plugged into it.
Yeah, I know, but that's the reason why the smoke stopper was going up, cutting out, because it was drawing too much.
Current.
Now you're getting closer to the right answer. So I was like, okay, so what if my problem is just the smoke stopper? So I looked around on Amazon for smoke stoppers, and I found one. It was like $5 more than the rest of them, average. And it was rather unique. It had a switch on it so that it could be 1 amp or 2 amps. And in the note for the 2 amp, it says for big builds. And I go, oh,
Yeah, that'll do.
that ESC is a 60 amp ESC. Yeah. So I looked at the smoke stopper I got, which I got from Ken, Place It Here. It pops at 1.2 amps. So
Yeah.
my assumption is that with the LEDs plugged in, it's
drawing.
going past the 1.2 amps.
Yeah.
And the smoke stopper's blowing. So there's not actually anything wrong with the damn drone. It's just the fact that the smoke stopper doesn't
It's
have
like-
a high enough
like-
test amperage.
Yeah, it's just you put too smaller fuse in it. Basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Put a 10 amp fuse in a 20 amp socket. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much what it boils down to. So it's like, I'll be damned. And here I thought I had another problem, and it turns out the only problem I had was the smoke stopper was too small. So the new one shows up on Friday with its switch, and it'll do 1 amp and 2 amps.
Yeah.
Obviously, start on 1 amp. If it pops, set it to 2 amps. If it still pops, okay, that's a bigger problem.
Yeah.
If I got that much plugged in, oh well, good luck. It's a good thing I got a 60 amp ESC. The motors only go to 43 amps max. So yeah, I got at least 15 amps at full throttle for LEDs and everything else. So I'm good.
You can actually measure the ampage they're drawing using your meter. It
That's
has,
that's
has
in-
that on it.
I'm sure it does, but I wouldn't know where to measure it. I presume on the
Anywhere
ESC connector.
anywhere along the line, I guess, I imagine.
So that was kind of the other thing I discovered. I found a site for Speedy Bee Help that here's some steps to sort of go through to make sure that it's working or not working. And one of them kind of led me to, oh, maybe I should have connected there kind of thing with my LEDs. So
Mhm.
there's a bat, which is VBAT, and a ground on the flight controller, which means it's putting full power of the battery through.
Yeah.
So instead of soldering my LEDs to the freaking ESC on the bottom, I can solder 2 wires on the flight controller and then connect everything to those 2 wires and not have to solder to the ESC underneath.
That would be better.
I suppose I need to strip the wires back far enough that I can twist them together before I solder them,
Um,
or just stack them and solder them and then heat shrink it so that it can't touch anything.
heat shrinking it would be a good idea, definitely. But remember to put the heat shrink on before you do any of the soldering. Because once you've done the soldering, it's very difficult to get the heat shrink on.
Yeah. But
Because,
depends how big the pile of solder is. I could have the same problem even if it's already on.
well, if it once you've joined it together, there's nowhere for you to actually put the heat shrink onto the wire. So you have to do it before you solder it.
Yeah, okay. Probably not a bad piece of advice because then at least I could figure out. Yeah, I can use the heat shrink to hold the wires together and then solder it.
Mhm.
Right there.
At least then I kind of have an idea what the right lengths are for all of those wires.
Yeah.
There's some heat shrink right there.
The other thing you can do is if you strip a long enough piece of the wire, you don't have to connect them all into the same place. You will connect one and then move along the wire a bit and connect another one and then another one.
I actually kind of like that idea so that it's not one big gigantic pile
Yeah.
of solder. Because I tried that.
And then just heat
And then
shrink.
that's when I ran into my problem that the smoke stopper kept cutting out. I literally had everything connected and then hit that problem and got fooled for quite
Yeah.
some time until I figured it out this morning that, the
The
smoke
only
stopper just doesn't hold enough amperage.
yeah, the only thing you've got to remember is that you're going to have to use a piece of heat shrink that is
Yeah.
wide enough to take the amount of wires that you're going to end up with coming out of one end.
Yeah. It's going to be a little funky to do it that way.
Still
And I'm
possible.
actually trying to count how many I'm going to have. So I'm probably going to put my 03 on the ESC anyways and go underneath with those wires.
The wires aren't exactly thick, are they? So it's not very.
These are like 24 gauge that I'm using. It's intentional that I went pretty lightweight.
What's that in millimeters?
Hang on. Yeah. Actually have my caliper here. I'm cutting into it. So it's probably 1.5.
Oh, that's thick.
Yeah, I could have gone thinner.
A lot thinner for LEDs.
But it's 24 volt LEDs. But you're right.
Yeah,
I probably could have gone thinner.
but sod all ampage.
Look,
Look at the size of the wire coming off the LED.
I think it's like 2 amps a meter, but I'm not using a meter, so you're right. It's low. I probably could have used smaller wires.
What's the thickness of the wire coming off or joining the LEDs together? It's
I think about the
tiny.
same. I think I used about the same gauge. Yeah, it's 1.5. It's the same. Probably like 24 gauge.
God, that is 1.5 mil.
Keep in mind that's the outside.
That's bell wire.
Like I said, that's the outside, not the inside.
Yeah.
So
That's bell wire. That's about the same thickness as you would use on a car speaker.
Anyways.
We have got away with using
Yeah, I probably should, but it's
quarters.
already soldered onto the LEDs and I
Yeah.
can't change it.
about 3/4 of a millimeter would have been enough.
So like 28 gauge.
Yeah, a bit like alarm wire.
Mm. Mm. Oh well, live and learn. Next build. Next build I'll go smaller.
Yeah.
It'll be smaller because it's a 3-inch drone anyway. So and I don't think I'm gonna have the LEDs on. Well, I don't know what I'm gonna do with LEDs on that one. I ordered some more crap today. So forget who it is. Maybe it's HGLRC. They make an LED board to plug LEDs into that you
Yeah.
solder to your flight control, the LED on the flight controller. So that's how you can multiply out to multiple LED
Yeah.
on the same 5-volt circuit.
Mhm.
Anyways, sorry, Paul, if you're not enjoying the electrical conversation.
That's okay.
It's an interesting conversation. It gives me
Yeah.
stimulates thought for how I want to build these.
Yeah, but I think it's nice because you have drawn Mark into, that's the most conversation we've gotten out of Mark in a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a technical guy like me, so I get it. I like tech. Now the question is, do I just plug the battery in and hope I don't blow anything up? Or do I wait till Friday when I get the new testing? Ken said, just plug it in.
Yeah.
I know what Maddie would tell me if Maddie
Hey,
ever
my
actually
ball.
responds to me.
I don't.
Maddie would go, just plug it in. I don't care. He's like, I never use a smoke stopper. I just build it and put it together.
Mm.
Yeah, but he's been doing it for 3.5 years.
I must admit, it's the first time I've heard it called a smoke stop.
Okay, circuit breaker, whatever you want to call it, tester.
Yeah, I know what you meant, but it's the first time I've heard it called that.
That's what it's called on Amazon too.
Is it?
Yeah, that's how I looked it up. Here, let me go to my orders. I'll show you the one I got. This one's actually rather unique in that it actually cuts the electric completely off if there's a problem.
Yeah.
Most of them have some sort of a fusing. I don't know what it is, but anyways, it doesn't necessarily cut it off. It won't cut it off because you have to pull the battery. This thing, you just plug the battery in and not worry about it.
Yeah.
If there's a problem, it trips the circuit breaker kind of thing.
Yeah, I think most of them will be done with transistors and diodes.
They're cheaper. That's why they're $7-8.
Mm.
This one was 13. There we go. See, short saver, smart smoke stopper. And I like it's got the flexible ends for plugging the batteries in. But it says 1 amps right here, but let me come down and I'll show you. Yeah, right here. This is what I read when I was looking at this, and I went, oh, I wonder if the problem is my stopper is the problem. That I'm just pulling too many amps at startup, right? Because of all the LEDs, I pulled just enough amps that I'm over what that thing can take. And I think I'm probably at like 1.3 amps, and the thing trips at 1.2, according to the sticker on the back of it.
Brenda, you're still cleaning up debris? Is that what do I see that in the chat?
So anyway, this one's a 1 amp or 2 amp. And then this one also says completely cut off the current flow.
Mhm.
The cheap ones, you have to unplug them really fast. So,
Yeah.
and it does it, and this
All
does it in
fast
like
ones definitely better.
in 3 milliseconds. So it's doing it way faster than I can unplug a battery.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a much better smoke stopper.
Mhm.
And it was only $4 or $5 more expensive than the rest of them. I was like, okay, I need one of those.
Mhm.
But when I read that sentence about 2 amps for big builds, I was just like, oh, that's when the light bulb went on for me.
Mm.
That the problem was the smoke stopper, not the actual drone. Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Mhm.
God, I do not want to desolder and go back and resolder the LEDs that I got down there. But I got some more that I'm probably going to put on. More than I already have.
What do you got there, Just?
Oh, stupid green screen. That's the electrical box, all the shit in it.
So
Just
I
reorganize.
still got 2 sections of that LED, 1 meter of the LED. So they're 50 meters each. And so they have this little shark fin thing that can sit on top of the drone for like rollovers and crap, sort of keep the drone upright. So what I'm thinking about doing is I don't know which way I'm gonna do it yet. I've tried to play around in Tinkercad to modify this thing so I can figure out how to get the LED on here, but I kind of want to do something like that with the fin. Probably on the sides because the fin's gonna hit, but I don't know. I'll figure something out.
Mhm.
Either that or God, I hate to do them as separate strips on the top because that's 2 more sets of wires to hook into that pile of wires. Or I may just skip it. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I have enough. Maybe I have enough lights on it already. You can probably see it from 5 nautical miles away. The FAA would be happy. All the airplanes in the neighborhood and know my drone's in the air.
Yeah.
They'll see it from miles and miles away. I'm not even sure how many miles 3 nautical miles is. Probably like 4 point something miles. A
No,
nautical miles longer
it's
than a mile.
1.1.
Brenda,
Okay,
how
1.1.
bad did your trees end up? You said it's just the trees.
So it's only 3.3. So just an extra 16, 550 yards, something like that.
Either way, they'll be able to see it for sure.
Mm.
Now my question is, do I take this stupid F4 board off and put the F7 board on that I ordered from Speedy B? The advantage is, well, obviously a faster processor, but it actually has plugs for all the devices, GPS, ELRS, all that stuff.
Oh.
So you don't have to solder anything to the board. I saw some other boards when I was looking around that do the same thing. I was like, it'd be
Make
nice if that become the
the
trend.
board easier to change.
Well, yeah, just unplug everything.
Mm.
Swap the board, plug it all back in. But now we got to get all the manufacturers doing that across all their boards.
With the same plugs. Yeah.
Well, it should be the same plugs because the wiring diagrams are the same for the GPSs and receivers and
Well, I don't know how many of you people are baseball fans, but Detroit just swept Houston, and they're into the playoffs.
Oh, that's good.
So here's a question for you, Paul, since you like
Dominic.
baseball.
Yeah,
Now that he's dead, you think they'll put him in the Hall of Fame?
posthumously, yeah. they
Yeah.
could. But I don't know why he wasn't in there to start with.
Yeah, I know. Everybody else thinks the same thing. It's like, okay, didn't you punish him enough? I get why, the 1919 Black Sox, blah, 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 blah. But if you listen to the story, he never bet against his teams. They always bet for his teams.
Yeah, for the
Which
team.
means he had to work his ass off harder because he actually had other money on the line to win the game.
Yep.
Nothing like already having a job that is high pressure and then putting more pressure on yourself.
Betting on your job. Yep.
Yeah, betting on your job that you actually get it. That was the part that I was like, at some point they should have just said,
Well,
okay.
the sad part of it is the people that make that decision say they don't care what it is. This is the rules, and the rules are the rules.
What the rules say, he's not allowed to bet on the game at all.
Right.
Yep.
Hi, Dominic.
Good evening.
Well, because they're afraid of if more people were betting on sports that were in sports, that it would end up they could be bribed and they could be this and they could be that.
Why do you think
Hey,
Vegas didn't have professional sports teams for the longest time? Because they were
And
afraid
here's
of
the other part.
games.
How easy is it to get around it?
Oh,
You have a Fred bet instead of you.
well, you have your wife do it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. Yeah.
That's why Vegas didn't have professional sports teams for years,
Yeah.
because they were afraid of people fixing matches and stuff. But then they had NASCAR for a long time and never had issues, and
How to
then
do
they
it.
I
finally
don't
got
know.
the Raiders.
I think if you didn't bet against if you didn't bet yourself to lose and you always bet yourself to win, then I freaking don't care that you bet.
Yeah.
Betting to lose means you throw the game. Betting to win means you got to work your ass off and play even harder. Hey, that's exactly what I want as a spectator, right? I want the guy to be interested in the game, not like Randy Moss, who was out there and said, I run and play when I want to play. When it's coming to me, I'll play hard. When it's not, yeah, whatever. Hated that dude
It's only
for that fucking comment. As a spectator, it's like, you're getting paid millions, buddy, and you're out there playing. You better run your ass every goddamn time and put 100% in.
it's the same as them giving winning bonuses.
Well, yeah, you're right.
I bring that.
You win in the playoffs, they get extra money. So how is that any different than betting on yourself to win? It was always one of those you always felt like they
It's typical, isn't it? We've had a
they
nice
stuck it to the word of it versus the spirit of it, right?
Yeah.
And what you have to realize is that rule came into place because of the 1919 Black Sox, who threw the World Series because they bet themselves to live and made money that way. So it wasn't to prevent guys from betting for themselves. It was to prevent guys from betting against themselves.
Yeah.
So go back and understand the situation that caused it in the first place. And Rose didn't do anything wrong. He didn't throw games. He put more pressure on himself to actually win them. So why is that a bad thing? Might be bad for him, but it's not bad for the rest of us because he's going to try harder. Great. If it's your sports team, what the hell do you want? You want all your players trying harder. If that means they're betting on themselves, okay, fine. They're still trying harder. Great. Better product on the field because they're actually playing and not bored and don't care.
At the end of the day, I think that it should be based on his record, not what he did. If he still has the most hits in the league, then he still holds that record. Bet not.
David.
you know?
The reason you can't bet on yourself, win, lose, or draw, is because of insider knowledge.
Mm,
Well, obviously, but
And it's same across every sport across the world.
oh
yep,
yeah,
we
it's
had a
frowned
problem here
upon.
too, so I can understand that as well.
Yeah, it's frowned upon in all sports.
Over here too.
But like I said,
It's
at the
still
end
no
of the day,
it's still no guarantee, insider knowledge or not. Everybody else, for God's sakes, as much ESPN and every media running around, how everybody has inside knowledge every damn day. Turn the ESPN on.
well, I'm saying is at the end of the day, his record is his record, and that wasn't
Oh
affected
yeah,
by a
and
couple
it
of
still is
bets.
and it still is a record,
So I think that it should be based on your record.
and probably
if
won't
the-
be broken because that man was possessed.
Now, if the MLB came in and said, we're gonna strip everything, his records, and say he didn't win this, and that'd be one thing if they did that when it happened and they took all his wins from him and everything, because then technically he wouldn't have a record. But they never stripped nothing away from him, so his record is still his record at the end of the day, and that's what the Hall of Fame's about at the end of the day. It's about be the best players that were in the game at the time. There's, some second or third string. I don't know if they go by strings in baseball, but if you're some second or third string pitcher nobody's ever heard of and you played 5 years, you're not going to end up in the Hall of Fame.
Biggest thing sports could do is stop in-play betting. Yeah. Betting on the next yellow card, betting on the next red card, betting on the next goal. Yeah. That
Yep.
needs to stop because that's where the game gets manipulated.
We've mostly stopped that.
Houston are the cheaters with no repercussions.
Mhm.
Brenda says. I'm not sure what she's referencing there, but
The sign stealing. They
Mm,
didn't take the World Series away from
sign stealing.
them.
What do you mean signs?
yeah,
Oh,
I
They
watched
were
were-
that.
stealing the pitches. They were stealing the signs. They were banging on the freaking garbage cans to let them know what was coming.
okay.
I read about that.
I don't
Part of
know.
how they won the World Series that year.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not super familiar with baseball because
Other than charging the money, they didn't do much.
honestly I find baseball to be extremely boring.
Yep.
Agreed.
I can't.
I'm
sit
going to
and
be
watch
honest.
baseball.
It's one of them sports we created. America took and we say, fuck it, you can have it.
Yep.
Actually, the ones that have embraced baseball more than anybody is the Japanese, man. They absolutely
Yeah.
love fucking
Yeah,
baseball.
They can have it. They can have it as well.
And the
Yeah, they
South
can-
Koreans
Yeah, well,
and the
I
Puerto
would say,
Ricans.
yeah, the Asian community in general, a lot of Asian countries have embraced it.
Mm-hmm.
I see a
Because
corner.
it's cheap to
The
play.
coroner has officially said that Pete Rose died of natural causes rooted in high blood pressure and hardening of the arteries.
Yeah, heart attack,
Mm.
effectively.
Lack of oxygen. That'll be doing.
Mm-hmm.
I must admit, yeah, the Orientals betting is really big. I mean, you walk into a casino in the UK and you'll find that it's mostly full of Chinese.
Yep. Same here.
They like to bet a lot.
Oh,
Yep. They love to gamble.
Oh wow.
You'll see our betting shops full of them.
Oh yeah, gambling's actually a serious issue in the Asian
Yeah.
Pacific area. Yeah. That's why a lot of arcade style setups are still real popular in Japan because they get money for winning them.
It's Wednesday night and all of the big sailboats are heading out to start the race. They have a
Mhm.
Monday night race, a Wednesday night race, and a Saturday race.
Well, we called internet cafes a few years ago. They
Hey,
were just
Dominic.
basically online gambling are real popular in Asia.
Meow.
There you go, Dominic.
Mm.
This is
I
my
don't know
big.
what it
Hello.
is.
That's
Don't
Scout.
wake mine up.
Scout?
That's Scout.
Yeah,
He's
don't
the-
don't wake mine up. I've got them to sleep.
He almost looks like a stuffed animal.
You got them to sleep? You mean they went to bed when they felt like it, right?
Yeah. No, I've settled them down. I've settled them down. They were all over the all over the shop this morning. I've settled them down, and they're not disturbing me. So that's all I need. Just I don't want them disturbing me.
No.
He's 17 pounds. He's a big kitty.
Will you?
That's bigger than my little dog. It's only 10 pounds.
He's a ragdoll. Ragdolls get big.
Tough little shit for 10 pounds, but yeah, he's only 10 pounds.
What, now, Justin, do you got cats too or just dogs?
We got 2 cats as well.
2
Yeah.
cats as well, okay.
Got Miss Kitty and Jax.
Do they stay away from each other or?
No. Jax and Tyson actually play with each other.
Oh, really?
Mm.
Yeah, they wrestle around on the ground with each other.
Wow.
Tyson's a little Chiweenie, and then Jax is a big old orange tomcat. And they like to play around with each other. They'll be walking through one of them will be walking through the room, and one of them will attack the other one. And they'll roll around on the floor and play with each other.
That's kind of nice
Yeah.
if they all get together and get along.
Miss
Mm.
Kitty, she's kind of older. She's about 9 years old. So she's just kind of very sweet, mild, doesn't really do anything. She goes
Laid
around
back.
and she kind of mamas all the other animals. She goes up and cleans them and all that.
Mm.
Like Tyson will be
Nice.
laying on our bed, and then all of a sudden she'll come up and start cleaning Tyson.
And my
Yeah,
2
she's-
kitties are 7 weeks apart from each other.
Oh, okay. No,
Different,
I've
different,
got a
different
good
litters.
distance. I've got
Well, the
12,
thing
12 8, and 1.
And that's like Bo. We got him, and he was probably about a year and a half when we got him. And he didn't even care about the cats. First day he walked in the house, cats walked right past him. He just looked at him, kept walking. He didn't even care. He had no concern about the cats.
Hmm.
And still to this day, he does not pay attention to the cats. He does not care anything about them.
Well, we
That was
Oh.
one concern I had when we brought him home was getting him acclimated to the cats, but he didn't even care.
There's a YouTube lady called the Cat Lady. I watched hers. And she says it takes 2 cats to have a whole cat.
Yeah.
Mm.
She's right. They keep each other entertained.
Oh, definitely. I've 2 of mine keep themselves entertained.
The other part of
In
it
that
is
case,
they'll
then-
live longer because they stay more active
Yeah.
having a playmate. So
Yeah, I've got
it's
a-
good for them.
If it's 2 cats to make a whole cat, that means the lady across the way has only got 8 cats. Although
Well,
I
if
do
it's
think
2
Big
cats to
Steve
1 cat, I've got
classy
1.5
with
cats.
quiet.
The one of them's big enough to
No.
be 2. So
And back to the sport.
yep.
We're involved in a bit of controversy.
Oh no, what's going on?
Well, you know, we had this player that has been accused of
yes.
biting another player.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, well, the FA, for some reason, didn't hand out his punishment. So he was able to play tonight, and he went on and scored 2 goals.
Yeah. So the FA did FA with him then.
Yeah, and the opposition are not impressed.
Oh no.
Well, they're clutching at straws, aren't they? Because it's like, you know, he scored 2 goals. We could have them wiped off. Yeah, but you still lost 1-0 then.
That's the end of that argument. Yeah.
Hey, David, what would your birds do if there was cats in the house?
Well,
Good idea.
don't know what
Cry-
these ones would do, but about 11 years ago, we had an incident where Lola, who was a very friendly bird, she was in the cage, and the cage was in the back garden at Laura's mum's. And I got up to get a can of Coca-Cola, and all I did was pop my head through the door, and all of a sudden there was like this. I turned round, Lola was covered in blood, and I was like, "Ah, crap! The cat's got the bird." Yeah,
No, the bird got the
no,
cat.
the bird got the cat. She actually ripped his paw off.
Wow.
Well, see, it all depends. Like if he had a cat that came in the house as a baby and was used to the birds, nothing. They would probably ignore each other after a
So
while.
David, the
Yeah.
cat must have stuck his paw into the cage and it.
Yep, he tried to swipe her, and she decided I
Not
don't think
having it.
so.
Now, if David brought a grown-ass cat in the house that wasn't used to being around a bunch of birds, it probably wouldn't go well for either side.
I take it Lola,
Yeah.
big bird.
Sorry,
Lola, big bird.
Lola was a big bird.
she was a cockatiel.
How the hell did a cockatiel rip a cat paw off?
We don't know. We just heard the commotion.
That's crazy because I've been bitten by cockatiels tons of times. And
Well, the thing of it
never
is
gotten
that
that bad.
the cockatiel
Well-
probably got a hold of the paws that was stuck in the cage and didn't
Yeah.
let go. And after all the messing around and stuff, it just ripped it off.
Yeah, the cat would have had to try and let go somehow.
Mhm.
But I've had a few bites from Lola, and she was vicious. She didn't like anyone apart from me. Laura's mum made that mistake. She went, "Oh, she's cute and cuddly. I'll pick her up." Big mistake. We just heard this big screaming, put the light on, and Lola was dangling off her finger. She would not let go. Took us 20 minutes for her to let go.
Like I could
None of
I could totally see an African gray or something like that ripping a cat's paw off. They get a hold of it. and
Oh, an
that's
African
good
grey would kill a cat. Don't mix African grey and cats.
Ah, yeah, but is Justin
Well,
going on about what they call a cockatiel, which didn't we agree was a budgie
No,
No,
that was a parakeet.
or parakeet? Right.
parakeet.
Now, I grew up around birds too. My dad had that huge aviary, so I'm pretty familiar with birds for the most part.
Right.
Certain breeds of them. Like I had a yellow-headed Amazon, and he was very territorial. He didn't like anybody but me. I was the only one that could pick him up. He hated my dad, and he couldn't fly. See, what happened was my dad went on a call for the fire department, and when he was fire chief, and he showed up to this house that was having a medical issue, and he walked in the house and saw they had him in a little rat cage, like a little tiny cage, and he could not move around,
Wow.
and they were mistreating him. And my dad told them, they said, "You either let me take that bird, or I'm calling the sheriff's department and animal control, and we'll let them come out and deal with him." The lady gave up the bird immediately to my dad. My dad took the bird home. He never could fly, even with his wings not being clipped, because he never learned how to fly, so he never flew. And he would get on the ground when he figured out how to unlock his cage. He'd get out of his cage, and he would chase my dad across the house. My dad would be screaming for me to come get him because I could walk right up to him. Like I could literally put this bird on his back, like roll him over and play with his feet, and he wouldn't do anything to me. Like I could play with him and rub his head and all over him, and he wouldn't do nothing. But if anybody else tried to touch him, he'd rip right through their finger.
Yep. That was what Sparky was like. She was always on my shoulder, cute and cuddly. But if Laura came in, she'd swoop.
Mm.
Yeah,
David, isn't there actually a bird called a parakeet, which is totally different to a budgie?
Yes, a ringneck parakeet.
Yeah.
And they're not native to this country, but now you can see them in London.
And they're bigger than a budgerigar, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
What's up, Donald?
Donald.
Yeah, they're about the size of a pigeon.
Yeah.
But not as fat.
So a bit like a minor.
Oh my God. Donald. Takes two cats to make a whole barbecue. Oh my god.
Oh, by the way, Justin, that um, that site that you sent me with
Dodgy get films up.
Despicable What's It did work on my phone.
Okay.
I could watch it, but there was nowhere for me to stream it from the phone to the TV.
Oh, so you had to watch it on your phone?
Yeah,
Yeah, because it's not the most legit site, so it doesn't have all the features like that. It has closed captioning. That's about the best feature it has.
I could go on to my smart TV and put the app or on my Android box and put the app into my Android box and watch it that way rather than
I'm,
use
surpri-
phone.
I'm surprised your IPTV didn't have it.
It's not got it on yet. It will have, but it hasn't got it on yet. It is unusual because it does tend to get pretty much everything that has been streamed.
Yeah, but the tugging a barge, it's a work barge. They put those spuds down in the ground to stabilize it, and then they can like scoop out make the channels deeper.
Oh, dredger.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dredger.
dredger. Same way how they build an artificial island. They use dredgers
Yep.
and then they spray the dirt out on the.
Yeah, because
Or you
it's got a
sp-
good sized crane on the back of it.
When we redid the basin at Castlefield, which was for all the barges and some bigger ships because it's part of the Manchester Ship Canal at one point, they actually had a proper excavator on a floating platform
Yeah,
to do the work.
that's what they used in Preston to dredge out the docks. They spent fucking ages getting this dredger down the river to the docks. It took one swoop, pulled out a big, massive Second World War bomb. They thought, "Frick that, we'll leave it."
That's like that's how they built those islands in was it Saudi? Was it no the United
Oh.
Arab Emirates?
Yeah,
The ones that
Okay.
look like. And then they never finished the other two that they started because they couldn't get enough people to bite on to buying houses on them. And now they're starting to go back to the ocean. They're starting to fade away slowly because the United Arab Emirates cut a lot of projects that they were planning on doing because
yeah, we shouldn't be playing around like that.
Well, they've got a hell of a lot of money there. I mean, Dubai is probably one of the richest cities in the world.
well, yeah, and especially to per capita too, because they have such a small population compared to other countries.
Well, that's ruled by a big sheikh type of thing, isn't it?
Mhm.
Yeah,
I mean, you can tell they've got a lot of money when the police are driving around in Porsche 911s, Lamborghinis, and Ferraris as police cars.
Hmm.
yeah, they waste a lot of money on. Well, see, that's the United Arab Emirates. They had a problem with what they're doing is they're trying to build these cities up. Yeah, they're trying to build these cities up to be like millionaires' playgrounds, but the problem is they're not getting enough people wanting to come over there.
Yeah.
I mean, you're trying to attract Westerners, but you don't really have Western type rules, and so there's a lot of people that don't want to go over there,
I mean,
and that's why they're.
they actually built a desalination plant to take the water from the sea to water a golf course that they made in the desert.
Yeah, same thing they did with Australia. Did that too? They had a pretty big
Yeah, we've got one here.
Pretty big plant that does that.
Well, the good news is after putting all the wires and not soldering the LEDs, I'm still working. Yay. I should probably hook up Betaflight and test the motors again. Although I'm going to desolder the motors, run the wires, cut the wires, all that kind of good stuff. But I'm trying to route wires where I want them all now, where I didn't have them the first time. So. Mhm. Although Maddie had an interesting suggestion for the motor wires that I think I can do, even though I have a heat sink. Although because I have the heat sink might be the reason to do it. And his answer was run the motor wires in between the stack and then solder it onto the ESC. That way the wires are on the inside. Less chance of them ever getting ripped off. But a hell of a lot harder when you have to replace a motor, because then you have to take the top half of the stack off. Not that that's a big deal, but poor little nuts. Yahoo. It's only 4 little nuts, so not really that big a deal.
No, that's a point while we're here. If you don't see me for the next few days or hear from Laura, it's because I'm going for tests.
Okay.
You might want me to stay in hospital.
Oh,
And if I'm staying in hospital, Laura's staying nearby.
okay. We'll take note.
And she's going to her mum's.
No, she's the
Oh, are they going to pay? Are they going to pay for her to have?
no, it's like an Airbnb that the hospital have.
Right.
But they have to make that decision very quickly and before someone else gets it.
Yeah. But then who look at the birds?
We'll have Laura's sister-in-law come in.
Right.
Don't worry, they'll be looked after.
Mhm.
Okay.
They might be pissed off when we get back because they've not had much out time.
Yeah.
But they
Food and water, that's all they
can
need.
take it up with the hospital.
Which hospital are you going to be going to?
Romford.
Right. That's
Queens, is it?
it's a fair distance away from where you live.
Yeah. I mean, technically, Laura doesn't have to come and stay, but they're offering her the option, so
Yeah. And if she
Yeah.
wants to, it's
Yeah, well.
it'll save her £6. £6 there, £6 back on the bus. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
plus all the time it takes to get there.
Mm.
Yeah, there is that. 4.5 hours, I think. There and back.
Yeah.
20 minutes in the car.
Well, don't you have like we have a weekly ticket?
They do, but it's like £28.
Oh God, I don't know how much ours was now, but the last time I got one before I got a bus pass, which all right, I'll admit is like 15 years ago, it was only about £11 for a week.
Mm.
If you get when the bus fares go back to normal price on the 31st of December, because at the moment they're capped at £2 under the government's COVID scheme. When it goes back to full price, right, a lot of people are going to be in for a bloody big shock because every couple of months there's been signs saying we're putting up the bus first. We're putting up the bus first. Because in December, that £1.80 journey, which was say from this stop to the next one, that's going to be £4.
Yes.
Ridiculous. Used to be £4 for a day ticket.
It's a yeah.
Yeah.
As what
£4.60 for a
$6.80.
day ticket, or it was. It's now £5.20. But it's a bit of a scam at the moment because they've got it capped at £2 under the government scheme. But if you buy a weekly pass, it's still £28, even if you're only doing 2 journeys a day.
Yeah.
Mind you, the trouble is that the Saver 7 pass was only for Stagecoach.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Where
that's the
you
problem as well.
If you got a day ticket, you could get a day ticket for Stagecoach, or you could buy a day ticket for First Bus, or you could buy a day ticket any bus.
Yeah, what's the bus companies that do that here?
3 different ones.
They've got the Essex Old Zone, which you technically can get any bus,
Mm.
but there's 1 or 2 bus companies that refuse to accept it.
Oh, okay. No, our cards are all metropolitan transport, buses, trams, and trains. And then
Yeah.
you've got to pay to do the regionals.
My bus pass is like that. It's buses throughout the country, trains within Greater Manchester.
It's the same card. It's just you've got to
Yeah.
load it for regionals.
That's a bit like the Oyster card in London, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah. We call it Mikey, MIKI. It's very similar to I think it's actually modelled on the Oyster card.
Mm.
Mm.
I think the trams I can use in pretty much any city because I've used them in Newcastle and I've used them in Sheffield. The only place they don't let you use them is Blackpool.
Oh. We all know about Blackpool anyway.
But you can use the buses in
Uh,
Oh, hang on. Let's just check on David's mood.
No, we won tonight. Mark, 3.
Did you?
Oh, good.
Watford.
Yeah. Osmajin scored twice.
Oh, great. Oh, that's all right.
Yeah. Villa beat Bayern Munich. Good God, Villa beat Bayern Munich.
Mm. Yeah, you can always have an off night.
Liverpool beat Bologna.
Yeah.
Manchester United women beat Liverpool women
Boo.
in
You
the
can't
league,
win.
in the Women's League Cup.
Can't win all the time.
Well, in Man United's case, all the time.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Yeah, instead of having a lockout, they'll have a lock in soon.
That was quite funny when the other week, I think it was last week, Man City announced that they were expanding the stadium north to make the capacity 60,000. And Domino's Pizza went, that's like us making our boxes bigger, but the pizza's the same size.
Yeah.
Well, it is kind of, because doesn't it take 58,000 anyway?
I'm not sure.
You always find it funny when they say, oh, we're going to expand, and they add like 2,000 more,
Echo, what's the
and it
capacity
costs them
of
$4
Etihad
million to
Stadium?
do it.
From CPIC.com. The Etihad Stadium's capacity is 53,500.
53,500.
Because I always find that funny because we used to have one of our stadiums used to be called Etihad Stadium, and and now it's called Marvel Stadium because Marvel took over the rights. They obviously paid them more.
Yeah.
And our Marvel Stadium has about 54,000.
I mean, City used to play at Main Road, but then they moved from Main Road to the new stadium that was actually built for the Commonwealth Games
Yes.
And once
Yes,
the Commonwealth
another scandal.
finished, they then turned it
Yeah,
into
come on, don't mention the word Commonwealth Games here.
Oh, yes, but they,
That is an absolute mess.
yeah, but the Man City stadium and the West Ham stadium are both political scandals because they were built with taxpayer money.
Yeah.
And then the football clubs got them on the cheap.
Yeah,
Or in
we've
West
had
Ham's
we've had a
case,
political scandal like that with one of our football grounds. So
yeah, in West Ham's case, they practically have the whole stadium named, and it's a crap stadium to watch football in because it's a bloody massive ball.
Mm.
Yeah, with a running track around it. I'm sorry, that's a no for the Premier League.
oh, we used to have a ground that had a greyhound track in it, and then they removed it.
Yeah, we had that. But I just think they should just pack it in.
Yeah.
our greyhound track separate. Actually, I think we've got a new greyhound track because the old one's been knocked down.
Yeah. we used to have a greyhound track in the middle of the city, and it used to be Monday nights. They would have the greyhounds there, and then they moved it. Now they've moved it out to
Yeah,
Melton, which
not
is like
greyhound
an
racing
hour
anymore.
away.
And then
Because
we've got,
I think they got sick of all these animal rights protesters protesting around the place.
then we've got a speedway track and a stock car racing track.
Yeah, we got one of those.
Not banger racing, but stock car racing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had stock car. I don't know if it's still going though. Mate, they might do some at Sandown, right? At Sandown, because we've got a racetrack, and in the middle of it, and then on the outside, they've got a horse racing track as well in the same spot.
Strangely enough, we've got a horse racing track called Sandown as well.
It's probably where we stole the name from.
Yeah.
Because we've got a fascination with stealing names from UK place names as well. I think if I went through suburbs and other places, there would be a hell of a lot that lined up with your area.
I think we've got a Melbourne somewhere.
Yes, in Chelmsford.
Yeah.
Because
Is
when
where-
we first moved down here, we didn't realise there was a suburb of Chelmsford called Melbourne, and this bus pulled up and it had C4 Melbourne. I was like, well, that's going a fucking long way.
I just found something interesting. I was looking up, one of the cruise ships is headed for Killarney, which is,
Okay.
Island, Southern Ireland, that's where my family come from.
yeah, but there's a Killarney in Canada that's just off of Lake Huron.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah, as I said, it's fascinating when you look at some of the place names we've got here. And as I said, I reckon they've stolen them from the various spots of the world.
Yeah.
But it just makes me wonder, Killarney is like, that's Scottish, isn't it?
Irish.
Irish.
Southern
So
Ireland.
what I'm wondering is if it isn't a bunch of Irish settlers that came to Canada that settled Killarney. You know?
Could well
Yeah,
be.
that's most likely. That's what happened here. We used the names because of settlers that came from the UK.
Mm.
Pretty sure, because I know Horsham is named that way because we've got a Horsham here, and I know that Horsham was named because of English settlers.
Yeah, Horsham's down south somewhere.
Yeah,
David.
Near Portsmouth.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, Horsham for me is about
Yeah, but
3.5
you've never
hours.
picked the good names, like the village of Twat or Shitterton or
Yeah.
But
Some
Ball.
Scunthorpe's always a good
Yeah,
name, a
right
good
now.
place name. It's one of my favourite.
As it's got a famous son.
Yeah, we've got a place near us called Fingering Hall.
Yeah,
Okay. Did you?
that was
use-
on what's it? That was on Facebook the other day. I put it on. Sure.
And we've got one called
Okay.
Knob.
Yeah, we've got a place called Knob.
There's
Oh,
a
what- yeah. Well,
little
we've
village,
got
little
what
village
about
in Cornwall
you
called Piddle Trent Hyde.
yeah? We've got a place near me called Poowong. It's always a good laugh. There's probably I've been through this one before, but off the top of my head I can't remember them. But there's some absolute pearlers out there.
Mm. Do you know who Scunthorpe's famous son is?
No, who?
Ian Botham.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yes.
He actually
Now you
played-
say it.
he played
Now you
cricket, but
say it. Yeah, I remember
he
Beefies from there.
actually
Yeah.
played professional football for Scunthorpe United.
Mm. Oh, one of the great characters of cricket.
Are you ready for this? We've got a place called Bellend, Shitterton, and Wetwang.
What?
I actually met Ian Botham.
Yeah, I have too. They had a charity event out here with Beefy and Viv Richards.
Uh,
Yeah, we've got the village of Bitchfield and Lower Bitchfield.
Alan
Well,
was
everyone's heard of Cockermouth.
Boy,
Yeah.
that must be a very populated place, huh?
my auntie lives there.
And
Your
then,
auntie lives in Bitchfield?
No, in Cockermouth.
Oh.
yeah, there's
In the Lake District.
Fanny Hands Lane and Fanny Barks,
Mm.
Great Cockup, Lickery End, Lower Swell,
Mm.
Neverthong, Never Wallop, Penistone,
Yeah, I know about Penis Stone.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
Mm.
Piddlington,
actually pronounced Pennystone, but
I know, but that was the one.
Yeah.
That was the one on Top Gear where Jeremy Clarkson had to call it Penis Stone.
yeah.
Mm.
Now we've got Piddlington, Pratt Bottom, Scratch Ass Were,
well, Ramsbottom's just down the road from me.
no, Pratt's Bottom.
Oh, there's a Ramsbottom.
Yeah, no. And then there's Scratch Ass Were, Sleepy Para and Sheepy Magna. They're probably where Welsh Rob lives.
Mm.
Well, that you've just reminded me. Fanny Bay in Darwin.
Mm.
You reminded me about Fanny Bay.
Yeah, a couple more here for you. Slag Lane in Lowerton, Warrington, and Titty Hole
Mhm.
in Northamptonshire. And then the village of Twat, the village of Wetwang, Upper Fong, and Upper Fonging Hall.
But do you have a place? Do you have a place there called Mount Buggery?
I don't think so.
I always think that's a funny one.
The village of Twat, isn't that where Matt lives?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he does live there. I'm just looking. Oh, yeah. I've just looked up on the internet. There is a place in Tasmania called Pisspot Creek.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember the name of it. I'm thinking, yeah, there's one in Tasmania.
And they were just the names that made it to the BBC's website. You know,
Yeah.
apparently there are 250 villages that were not nameable on the BBC website for political reasons.
Oh, I'd love to know that then. What was there? There was a. I'll have to look at them up on the internet because there's some really good ones. Some really good ones in Australia.
Tickle Cox Bridge.
You
There's
really
one in
wonder.
Amish. There's one in Amish country
In Port
in
Huron,
Pennsylvania.
some intermittent clouds, and can expect a high of 73 degrees Fahrenheit and a low of 52 degrees.
I can't remember what the hell the name of it is, but you just go, how the hell did a town like that get named in a place like this? It's in Pennsylvania, over by Lancaster.
Here's a couple for you. Misery Knob in Tasmania.
Misery Knob?
Misery Knob. You really wonder.
I wonder if there's any place called Sterile.
You don't know, there might be.
There's some good ones in the US. There's Accident, Maryland. There's Intercourse, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I was just about to bring that one up.
Intercourse. That's the one. That's the name I was thinking of. Intercourse.
Intercourse is the, yeah.
There's
Right in the middle of
Ding Dong,
Amish
Texas.
country. Right in the middle of right in the middle of Amish country.
Yeah.
And then there's Ding Dong, Texas.
Ah,
No
well,
name, Colorado.
the original meaning of intercourse was just to talk to each other.
Yes. Social intercourse.
Monkey's Eyebrow in Kentucky.
We have a
And then
lower P over.
and then there's Climax, Georgia.
Yes.
You gonna
Shut up, Justin.
go back to bed? You said you were sleeping.
She slept. She's now awake.
Yeah, she slept.
She heard you were up, Justin, so she got up out of bed.
You know, Mark,
Mhm.
now you really got me thinking about the size of the wire. And I just realized something. So the DJI Air 3 can take up to 26 volts.
Oh,
I'll bet you those are 30 gauge wires that are there. They're 28 or 30s. I think they're 30s.
It's the ampage that matters for the thickness of the wire, not the voltage.
Exactly.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah. And those LEDs aren't running high amp at
Right.
all. So
Oh, what's up, Andrew? We were just talking about you yesterday. Wondering if
Hey,
you were
you're
all
back.
right.
Yep, Dildo, Newfoundland.
yeah, I should have used the other wires, but now I've got it. Now I've got those LEDs glued down, taped down, all that kind of good stuff. And you can't get it off to change wires.
No,
You could always cut the wires and join
Yeah, I don't want to
to the
splice
triple
them.
wire.
I don't want to splice them.
you know, David. Laura's like a typical woman when it's time to play the games. I got a headache.
Yeah.
You know, I can hear you, Justin. Yeah.
By the way, Justin, she sat on my chair.
Yeah, David doesn't use.
Where's my phone? I need to message someone.
I think my next task is shorten my wires for the O3.
You're gonna hear Justin in a minute go, harder.
Just go and pinch Sarah's phone quick.
Don't worry, I'm already killing the Wi-Fi as we speak.
What, you said you liked it, Justin? We're the messenger. Oh dear.
I didn't know I was going to laughing though.
Oh dear. If Justin disappears, it was Laura's fault.
Yeah.
Yeah, go and explain it to Sarah quick before she reads it.
What?
What?
You being mean to Laura?
No. I don't know
Hi,
what you're talking about.
Justin.
Who's Laura? I don't know Laura. Ow!
Retribution has been swiftly
Is
dealt.
Sarah beating you up?
It was only one time and I was out of line.
Aren't you always out of line?
Yeah.
Sarah's got to keep a steady eye on you.
Watch out for rain next
That's
week.
why it
coming
was
from
only one time, because he's permanently out of line. So it's only
Yeah.
one
Yeah, she took care of that problem, didn't she?
time. That's like Leonard giving Penny Sheldon's kryptonite.
Hmm.
She gave Sheldon's mother's phone number.
Yeah, they're racing.
And they're off and running.
I watched a silly video today.
Oh, okay.
Did it involve Justin?
No, it was a guy who does stupid tests on drones to see just how resilient they are to destruction.
Oh, okay.
Where's Perth in Scotland?
And he was hovering a Mini Throw 4 Pro
Right up north.
and pouring water over the top of it. And it just
What's the
What-
name of that
what-
guy?
what
I
kind
may
of
have
drone
seen
was
that.
he-
I
what
may have
kind-
seen that
what-
channel before.
What
And
kind
then-
of drone? What kind of drone was he testing?
and a DJI Mini 4 Pro.
He was pouring water on top of it.
Yeah, there's a guy. There's a guy that does that.
And then he was trying to, well, he crashing it into a tree to see how it handled it. And he had to crash it into the tree 6 times before it wouldn't fly anymore. And then he just took it apart, cleaned it out, put it back together again, and it worked again.
Nice.
No, so you got to do like ridiculous tests, right?
Yeah.
You got to hover the drone and be like, okay, the drone does not survive a 50 caliber round.
Yeah.
That thing about
Now,
it, he had 16,500 subscribers. And this video got 97,000 views.
Because people like it when you
Destroy
fuck
things.
shit up. Yeah.
Mm.
I'm just looking up who he was. It'll be in my
History.
history.
Yeah, I think I've watched that channel before. He fucking does some weird things to drones,
Mm,
just for the hell of it.
yeah, just to get views.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can.
Mm-hmm.
Me history. Trouble is, I've got to check through because I've watched rather a lot of stuff today,
I hate that.
including 2 and 3/4 minute ship videos from Paul.
Yeah.
No, that's not it. No. DJI Mini 4 Pro crash test. Unfiltered.
Unfiltered.
Yeah.
I bet I've watched that site. I remember what
Yeah,
I
probably have
remember
too.
one guy a long time ago doing some crazy shit to a drone. And what you described sounds like what I watched a long time ago.
Mm.
Mm.
You know, I hate 30 gauge wires. God damn, are they small?
Mm.
Just use the wires that you get with telephones and house alarms.
Yeah. I like big pads, medium-sized wires.
You'll get used to them. Don't worry.
Yeah, I'm sure. Or
Practice makes
I need a bigger magnifying glass.
and smaller hands.
Oh God, do I need that?
Yeah. I know that from experience.
Oh yes, Donald.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, well, yeah.
Dusty.
I mean, those videos will get lots of views, but you gotta have the money to put up for them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's what I thought. That's $1,000 with a drone. Yeah. Yeah.
How much you want to bet he knows somebody who runs a store and they send it back under warranty?
He could send it back under care refresh, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely could. DJI wouldn't give a shit.
Yeah. But no, he said he actually took it apart, bought a new gimbal for it, and put it back together and fixed it.
Hmm.
And everything was okay. He didn't even break the legs off it.
Mm.
And he was crashing it into a 8 to 10 inch diameter tree.
Mm.
And of course, he had to do it in sport mode,
Yeah.
which obviously,
Well, of course. Otherwise, it wouldn't be sporty.
Yeah. Well, you need maximum impact with speed.
yeah, not only faster, but it turns the obstacle avoidance off.
Exactly. Who needs
Well,
obstacle
see,
avoidance?
And that's funny that it took them 4 times. You said before it wouldn't fly, but anybody else would have done one hit by accident, and that'd have been it.
Yeah. No, he actually flew it head on into it about 6 times.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. He was purposely trying to
Yeah.
do it where if somebody was just accidentally hit that tree one
yeah.
time, they would have fucked that drone.
Yeah. I accidentally hit a tiny little branch that stopped the propeller, and it fell onto concrete and broke the gimbal on my Mini 3. So I had to send that back.
Yeah, it's the luck of the fall sometimes.
Mm.
Whereas Heinrich hit a small branch with his Mini 4 Pro doing tracking in his dad's garden, and that fell onto the ground, fortunately onto soft grass and earth, and didn't do any damage at all.
Buddy taking bets on when World War III starts?
Yeah.
Soon.
It's already started, Paul.
Because Iran just bombed the shit out of Israel with guided missiles.
They did
That was yesterday.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
No,
all
again
news.
overnight tonight.
Another one. Yeah.
Were they good?
Yeah.
Do you want more?
Yeah,
After they
sent
said
like
that they were after
sent
they
300 missiles yesterday, but today they're talking about the 3 great big huge missiles that they sent.
yeah, they were saying they sent their hypersonic.
Yep.
Israel's small, but man, they got a tough ass little military though. Iran better watch it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Tell you what, man.
I
the
think World War III
Israelis,
already started.
I guarantee
Israelis,
Mossad are already in Tehran.
Mm.
yeah,
What
the
was that,
Israelis
David?
are,
I think World War III's already started.
Yeah.
2 years ago.
No, about 10 minutes ago, between Laura and Justin.
Mm.
No, because when Israel retaliated, the British forces were involved. Why British forces were involved? Because government didn't have a mandate to do so. Is beyond me, but
We can't afford to lose all our jewelers.
Exactly.
you know what? They should all just pack it in.
And advanced
Exactly.
chip design. A lot of advanced chip design is done in Israel.
Oh,
One in the bedroom.
the one in the kitchen.
Like I said, the Israeli army
But
compared
Justin
to
hits that hard that he
obviously other
did.
countries is quite small. But
Yeah.
they are a tough little military, I'll tell you that.
I mean, most of our advanced chip design from Gordon Ramsay.
But,
Well, our advanced chips come from Frito-Lay.
Or Walker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I like Doritos. Which I'm trying to remember. Is that Fritos? I don't remember. Whether Fritos is the corporate company for them.
Look, Fritos were biscuits shaped like a frog with chocolate on.
oh, they're
That's
Freddo.
Freddo's.
That was one of the best buys Pepsi ever did, was buying Frito-Lay. That was a
Here's
good
a
buy for
question
their
for you
company.
people that are in the know. Matthew Perry just pled guilty to what? I don't know.
Matthew
Matthew Perry's dead.
He's dead.
What are you talking about? That can't be
Matthew Perry died years ago.
Yeah, he died 3 or
He's
4
here.
years
Yeah, but
back at least.
it says there was a guilt plea involving Matthew Perry. Was he killed by somebody?
I think it was because
Yeah.
someone gave him
All the
drugs.
drugs. Yeah,
They thought
they
it
had a
was
trial on the
suicide.
drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They thought it was suicide, but now they've decided he was murdered.
Yeah,
Ketamine.
or death by misadventure, I think, is what they were talking about.
Yeah, well, it's the same thing they did to Michael Jackson's doctor, right? Because he prescribed the meds that ended up killing him.
Yeah, there was 4 people I think that were involved in that arrests for that.
Yeah.
Because they were giving him ketamine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is horse
What's tranquilizer?
tranquilizer. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's used on humans, but it's supposed to be monitored very heavily by a doctor
Yes.
and professionals, and they were just letting him have it.
It was
And he was just
they
dosing himself up.
yeah, it was overdose.
Because I mean, they'll use that in hospitals and stuff, but like I said,
Yes.
it's got to be very heavily monitored
Carefully monitored.
by a staff of doctors and nurses, not just take it whenever you feel like it.
Pleaded guilty.
Yeah. I think it was just that he had a big enough dose to make it so that he was incapable of stopping himself from drowning in his hot tub.
Oh, and you got to remember too, you get in that hot tub, man, that thins your blood too.
Yep.
You're getting all hot like that too, right? That's why they tell you don't drink when you're in a hot tub. Because the alcohol already does the same thing. So even though most people will, crack a couple beers open while they're chilling in the hot tub, but you're not supposed to stay in there for long periods of time drinking. Can actually be dangerous.
You're not supposed to stay in them for
When I get back, I expect to still see my speaker on the table.
I like getting into oh man, if you got like a pulled muscle, man, that's the best thing ever is to get
Yeah, I
in a hot
know.
tub and just float in the water. Oh man, staying there for about a half hour, just cook like a freaking
Yeah, nice and chilled after that.
Yeah, just float in the water like a basted turkey. About a half hour. You'll be feeling good when you get out. Now, when he said Matthew Perry, for some reason I was thinking of what was the other Perry that died? Luke Perry? Was it
Luke Perry.
That's who I was thinking of, and I was like, wait a minute, he died like 4 or 5 years ago. It's been a minute. And
Luke-
then when you said, and then it dawned on me, Matthew Perry, different actor.
Wasn't Luke Perry in Beverly Hills 90210?
90210, yep.
Yeah, they've actually lost 2 cast members now from that show, from the
Hmm.
original cast. Because didn't one of the girls recently die?
Don't
One of
know.
the females from the show, I think, recently died.
So it's now just Beverly Hills 902.
It's just 902.
902, yeah.
Oh,
90210.
yeah,
Right
yeah,
now.
yeah, from breast cancer.
Yeah, yeah.
Is
There
it-
were this.
Yeah. I forget
Shannon
who it was.
Doherty.
Yeah, Shannon Doherty.
Shannon
there you go.
Doherty.
Yeah, it's now
Is it-
9208.
Yeah.
Because they just did the reboot, like 2 years ago, I think. They did
Yeah.
a reboot. And
Yeah, we're coming up on 12 months with Matthew Perry.
I saw his grave. The guy I watch on YouTube went to his grave.
Actually, I think we're only about 6 weeks away from celebrity death season.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, look how many celebrities have died just in the past week.
We've already had 4 in the last week.
Yeah, it's
They all
they're
tend to
dropping
go
like
together, don't
flies.
they?
They all
say
seem to
that.
go in lots of threes.
That's it. I've seen Bill Owens' grave.
If you want to see
was
celebrity
he digging
graves,
his
you
grave
go
up?
to that grave in that graveyard in Hollywood Forever. And you'll see a lot of movie stars in there. Tons of movie stars.
Well,
There's
Bill Owens buried in the cemetery in Holmfirth where they did Last of the Summer Wine.
Hmm.
you can do they got Hugh Hefner's right next to Marilyn Monroe. You can walk right up to they're in a wall. What do you want to call it? One of the walls where they
Mausoleum.
slide mausoleum walls, yeah. It's outside. And her stone is all discolored because over the years people have came up and kissed her headstone
Yeah.
on the wall, and it's now all discolored. So when you see
Hmm.
Hugh Hefner's plaque and then the person next to her on the other side, they're all like pearl white. Hers is like a shade of red, where they've had to constantly clean it over the years, and it's just got this permanent shade of red from lipstick now. Yeah, Hugh Hefner bought the plot right next to Marilyn Monroe. But yeah, if you go to Hollywood Forever, you can see tons and tons of celebrity graves. That's where like about 80% of celebrities get buried.
Just want to say, oopsies.
Yeah, history will tell it, Mudball.
I've only
Yep.
been to Hollywood Forever once, and it was a long time ago. I was like 17 or 18 at the time. I went with my stepbrother. He wanted to go in there and look at some celebrity graves. But I've seen it a bunch on online. They actually have a whole slew of wild cats in there that the graveyard takes care of. That run around in there, bunch of feral cats. There's a certain part of the cemetery where it's just littered with cats, and they actually the graveyard actually takes care of them. They go out there and feed them, water them, and everything.
Oh, that's good.
It's in this.
One of them, but that's like, probably one of the most well-maintained graveyards in the world. Just the amount of money that goes in that graveyard.
Is that Lou?
Mark's not doing his job. He forgot to remind me to put the heat shrink on.
Oh, no.
I didn't know you were doing it.
Oh, yeah. And I finally have a reason for my helping hand.
You'll step up onto your
Well, yeah, they
Because I've got to solder these 2 wires together, and I'm not actually going to bundle them. I'm going to solder them from opposite. They're going to come from opposite directions, and yeah. I actually have the little. I bought. Oh my God, way too much of it, but it's a little sticky clay kind of thing that you're supposed to use to solder wires together. to hold the wire.
Uh-huh.
Now the tricky part. Try to get these two helping hands lined up.
No.
Ooh, that kind of works. I don't know if I should have shortened that dumbass thing, but maybe I should.
Yeah.
Um, and let me shorten that a little. The finishing work.
Yeah, if you ever make it to California, I definitely recommend checking out Hollywood Forever. It's a pretty cool place. That's like Antoine, kid, the one actor, the young kid that died. Remember the one that got crushed by his SUV? Antoine Elchin, I think is his last name. He's
Yeah.
got a hell of a grave site, man. He's got probably one of the coolest ones in the cemetery.
I don't think it matters. He can't see it.
Yeah, don't matter for him anymore.
Where's Karl Marx's grave? Is it Kensington Cemetery?
What?
Karl Marx.
Where's his?
Buried in the UK?
Yeah.
He's
Huh,
not
didn't realize
buried
that.
in the UK, is he?
He's
What
buried
about it? What about his sister, Anya?
very funny. Yeah, Karl Marx is buried.
Took you a while.
What?
Took you a while.
No, it didn't.
And his brother, get ready.
Yeah. No, Karl Marx.
Yelchin, Antoine Yelchin.
Yelchin, close. Yeah, it was similar. I thought it was something as close to that as possible.
Yeah, Karl Marx is buried in in London.
And that kid had a bright future ahead of him too.
Yeah. I remember reading about that.
And the way he died was so stupid too.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is his grave site here that his parents had done for him. But he's got a full statue and everything. Really nice grave site. And that's in Hollywood Forever Cemetery. Go see that one.
Hmm.
Just think, like in the UK, they'd be getting letters telling them to take it down. Can't have that here.
Now, some of the coolest cemeteries in the US, I would say, are probably ones in Louisiana too. Because of all the they have to put all the graves on above ground. So there you get these old
The squirrel
graveyards with
squirrel
tons of
ran right across
mausoleums
your foot?
of all different sizes and shapes.
Hmm.
That's where Nicolas Cage is being buried. He has the big old pyramid that he had built. And that'll be his final resting place in Louisiana.
Yeah.
It was inside this big pyramid that he had built.
Yeah, it's not Kensington Cemetery, it's Highgate Cemetery in London.
Oh, close enough.
I said
No.
okay.
Yeah, Burt Reynolds also has a pretty cool grave in Hollywood Forever. He's got a pretty intricate headstone.
What's your problem?
Well, Mark, I think the heat shrink is going to fit over top of the solder.
Nice.
Surprisingly enough. Now I have to cut this third one. That's a guess. Actually, the third one's coming from here. Oh, crap. I know what I should do with the third one. I'll run it up through the heat shrink. Since it's coming from the same direction as the one that I soldered to the board.
So Justin, are you gaming tonight?
Oh, damn it.
Sarah's got him.
Sarah's put him in a timeout in the corner.
No,
Yeah.
she got it by the balls.
She what?
She got it by the balls.
Oh,
She'll just get a headache like Laura.
get a headache like Laura.
Told him I was going to bed because I had a headache.
And yet you're in here annoying me.
She said, no, she told me she was, I'll be back in like an hour and we can finish this up. Then she messaged me like 30 minutes later, I'm going to bed, I got a headache.
Hey, JD.
So are you guys
Yeah, we're
gaming
gonna- yeah.
tonight?
Yeah, we're
No,
gonna get
gaming.
Paul to play Fortnite next time.
No.
Oh God. I'll take a couple of years off when you start explaining that to him.
Take that just to hook the controller up to his computer.
Actually, you could just imagine Paul. So I press the X button, boom. Paul gets crown victory.
Get her a cookie.
Yeah. Well, unless there's one on there, there's nothing I can do about that. Or in there. I think that's it, cable. In.
Justin, you didn't answer me. Are you guys playing Fortnite tonight?
No.
No.
Usually don't play.
I will be
Yeah,
up
usually,
early.
I usually don't play during the week. It's usually Saturdays and Sundays
Oh,
at
okay.
nighttime. Or Fridays and Saturdays at night. If I do play during the week at nighttime, I don't live stream.
No, JD, I'm not playing Fortnite tonight. I'm not a gamer. It's like Dominic is not a gamer. Are you, Dominic?
I used to be.
Justin pretends to be a gamer.
I don't even
Ah,
know
yeah,
if Paul's-
no,
Pretends
one
to
of
be a
these days.
gamer.
One of these days I might go back to it.
Laura says Justin pretends to be a gamer.
Laura says a lot of things that don't make sense. Silence.
I'm
Yeah.
saying.
He's definitely a gamer.
Here you go, Mark. How'd I do?
Badly.
I don't know. I've lost my picture.
And it's kind of blurry.
You got it.
Yeah, well,
You gotta get the macro function on your
Okay.
on your camera.
Did you put on the shrink wrap beforehand, so you just slide it over and heat it up, or no?
I'm going to.
Mm.
Somebody killed my screen share. Okay, here we go. Screen share, screen share again. There you go.
Yeah, it's the shrink wrap's already
And
on there. It just
actually,
has to
and
slide it
actually, I
over.
ran
No.
one of the other wires up the shrink wrap.
Mm-hmm.
So what I
That's
got going on was kind of what you suggested, Mark, where solder one and then put all the rest of them on that one.
Yeah.
So this wire right here goes back to the board, and that is the VBAT, which is 24 volts on the 6S.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same as hooking it to the ESC. But what I'm doing is I'm running the
Yeah.
red wire one side, and I'm going to run the black wires on the other side, so that they're away from each other. And then heat shrink them on both sides, kind
Yeah.
of thing. But I don't know. I think that turned out kind of okay.
Yeah, looks all right, actually.
Just kind of okay.
Yeah, let me zoom out. Let me zoom out a little. It's not bad. The ink.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't wind up with a blob so big that the heat shrink wouldn't go
As
over it.
long as
But
you're happy with it, that's all that matters.
it'll be okay. It's workable.
Mm-hmm.
The wires are probably still a little too long, but I don't really want to put them where they're like a chance of tugging on the two ends.
Yeah.
You need to have a little slack.
Yeah, better to have a bit more play than none at all.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Otherwise, they might pull apart depending on how the drone crashes.
Mm.
Take your pick. So. But I may have one
But
more
why do you
wire.
need-
I may have one more wire to run. Depends on what I do with those other two things. So I don't want to do the shrink wrap right at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
In case I change my mind, in case I put that, figure out how to put that other one. But I got to do some playing in Tinkercad to make that stupid little fin big enough to hold the LED.
Mm.
Says it's on a fancy dress costume.
Or I could decide to just glue it to the underside and have that much more light in the electronics.
Is the fin actually going to serve a purpose? Is it going to work the same as a
It'll
keel?
keep it from. It'll try to keep it upright.
Same as a keel.
Yeah, to try to keep the drone upright when you
Yeah.
crash. Easier for flip over after crash.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully it's not sitting directly on the props that are going to fire.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I use that. I've used that ability exactly once. Problem was I was sitting on concrete when I did it. It chewed the props.
You're using just a single vertical fin.
Yeah,
would
that
it-
one fit. That one fits on the front where a GoPro would be.
Would it be better off doing something like the V fin tail of a stealth?
You know, the interesting part of it is because of the way the guy made this frame, there are 4 GoPro mounts. 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom, front and
Yeah.
back. So I could actually print another fin and put it on the back.
I still
And-
think the V-shaped fin on the back of a stealth fighter would be
Oh, you know, that would be kind of cool on the front. Trying to think where I've seen something like that before. I'll have to look around on Yegi. Maybe somebody's created. Maybe somebody's created something like that. They have something kind of like that for the Avata for a battery holder. One of them's kind of got that Delta fin.
Yeah, Brenda, I agree.
Justin, check your messages.
Uh,
There's orders of the management.
Okay, so one's done. One side's done at the moment. The positive is done. Now I got to work on flip the drone around and work on the other side. And get those LED wires all soldered and
Okay,
looking
everybody, I'm gonna
like I
call it.
Okay.
What are you gonna call it?
Put in 356.
I'm gonna call it.
Call it the
classical
end?
time. Hey, everybody, thanks for being here. We'll see all of you again tomorrow.